Can you hear me all right, Missy? Missy, can you hear me all right? Okay. Can everyone out in the sanctuary hear me all right? I am not on the mic. This one. Oh, can you hear me now? So I'm just trying to find the mouse on here so I could put got it or the recording. Okay. Hi, everybody. Good morning. Today is a lovely day here in Oakhurst. The skies are blue, the birds are singing this morning, and I'm here at Positive Living Center as host for the very first time. So it's good to see you all. Okie dokie. So right now it looks like there's glasses on. 9 people on Zoom. Hi, everybody. We're happy to see you here. And most importantly, I enjoy that we can all get together long distance and in person, and we're grateful for that. So good to see you all. All right. Do we have any visitors here in the sanctuary today? Or guests or newcomers? Oh, it's the first time you've been here. Oh, you've been on Zoom though, correct? All right. Welcome, welcome. So what are your names? Scott and Nancy Moore are here in the sanctuary. Thank you for being here today. Very exciting. So for anyone on Zoom, is anyone new or have any visitors with you today? If so, unmute and let me know, and I'll share it. All right. I don't think there's anyone new on Zoom today, but maybe next week. All right. So that's where we are today. And I want to remind all of you that are in the sanctuary, in the seat in front of you is a gift, which has the Positive Living Center beliefs chart, the prayer of protection, and the offertory prayer. Take it home with you. I said thank you for being here today. All right, so today is January 23rd, 2022. And this is the year of creating a healthy lifestyle. Our themes of the month of January are strength regarding our physical health, confidence regarding our mental health, and faith in our spiritual health. Now, though, is the time for Rev Lujuana and Joe Bull to come up and sing for meditation. Now, I did have a quick little note here I wanted to say is that they'll be our singers today, but while we meditate, when they are finished, there'll be a time of quiet meditation.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Hi, Stacy. Hi, everybody.
I'm getting that note. It's right there. In me so low, hang your head on, hear the wind blow, hear the wind blow, dear, hear the wind blow, hang your head over, hear the wind blow. If you don't love me, love me, please. Wrap your arms around me, give my heart ease. Give my heart ease, dear. Give my heart ease. Throw your arms around me, give my heart ease. Roses love sunshine, violets love dew. Angels in heaven know I love you, dear. Know I love you. angels in heaven, Lord divine.
Welcome back, everyone, back into your body. As we let our hearts unfold, we reconnect to our inner energy. We come back to the room relaxed, clear, and balanced. Thank you, Luana and Joe. That was lovely. So the spiritual talk is next. And today, Patty Hummel, we are ready to hear your thoughts.
Thank you. Well, hi, Missy and Stacy and everyone there. Angelo, I've missed seeing your faces. So as Brenda told us, our topics for this month, we have a physical health one and a mental health one and a spiritual health one, and that's kind of how we're doing it going forward through this year. And I think that's a really good idea. We all need balance. But so the topics for this month are strength, confidence, and faith. So I decided early on I was gonna go with faith. And as often, in fact, when I start doing spiritual thoughts, I get sidetracked. I go off in this direction, that direction. But usually when that happens, I discover something. Sometimes you just gotta let let God lead you, let Spirit lead you where it will. So I started out with the idea of faith as small as a mustard seed. That's one of Jesus' parables. It's something I learned in Catholic school. I knew this one. That was a good starting point. Now, most of us have, heard of that, if you were raised Christian. It said faith as small as a mustard seed. This gets bandied about at many a Sunday sermon. You hear it all the time. But the idea of a mustard seed, it shows up a whole bunch. It's in Matthew, Mark, and Luke, and in a couple different ways. So it also shows up in the Lost Gospel of Thomas. And see, Bob, I was paying attention. It was saying number 20. And it was when the disciples said to Jesus, "Tell us what the kingdom of heaven resembles." And he said to them, "What it resembles is a grain of mustard seed. It is smaller than all the other seeds. It's really not, but if it falls on plowed terrain, it puts forth an enormous foliage and is shade for the birds of heaven. So that's all right. So the kingdom of God is like a mustard seed. Okay. Got to think about that a little bit. Um, the mustard seed also shows up later in Matthew when Jesus heals a child that's having seizures. Uh, I believe in Matthew they said he had demons that needed to be cast out. Um, and Jesus healed this child after the disciples had tried and failed. And so afterwards, the disciples, being a little upset about this, said, "Well, Master, why? How come you can do it and we can't? You said we all could." And Jesus said, "Because you have so little faith, I tell you the truth. If you have faith as small as a mustard seed, you can say this to the mountain, move from here to there, and the mountain will move. Nothing will be impossible for you." It shows up again in Luke when his disciples asked him to increase their faith. And he replied, "If you have faith as small as a mustard seed, you can say to this mulberry tree, be uprooted and planted in the seed, and it will obey you." Love the parables. So as I said, I started taking my notes, starting with these parables, and I was chomping on them for a couple days, and the other day on my way to work, I was driving up the mountain to Chennai, and I like to listen to podcasts. And I was listening to a podcast called Everyday Buddhism. That's really good, and kind of puts me in the right mood to go deal with work situations. And I heard this story about Buddha and the mustard seed, and I was like, "What? What? I have never heard of this. Buddha and mustard seeds? I thought this was a Christian thing." Well, there is a story about this young woman. She had recently given birth to a son, and her name was Kisa Gotami. And Kisa loved her son, and she was so proud of her son. And then the son became ill and later died. And she was, of course, heartbroken and just totally bereft. And her friends said, "Well, why don't you go see the Buddha? He's teaching in the forest over yonder, and maybe he can help you." So she takes the lifeless body of her child and takes him to the Buddha and begs the Buddha, "Please, can you bring him back?" And the Buddha says, "Well, I can do that, but I need a secret ingredient." And the secret ingredient was mustard seeds. He needed a certain measure of mustard seeds. And, she got all excited. She told me, "Mustard seeds, they're all over the place." But I always came with a caveat. These mustard seeds had to come from the house of a house that had never been touched by death. So she went knocking on every door in the village, and she could not find any home anywhere that had not lost a loved one, a child, a parent, a lover. Everyone had been touched by it. And finally, she went and she buried her son in the forest and went to the Buddha. And she ended up becoming one of his highest and best disciples. And apparently she also became enlightened. So I was like, wow, mustard seeds. Where else? I always thought it was just a Christian thing, but turns out not. So I did a little digging, and I found in the sayings of Muhammad, "He will not enter hell who hath faith equal to the single grain of mustard seed in his heart, and he will not enter paradise who hath pride equal to a single grain of mustard seed in his heart." was like, yeah, all right. It's in the Quran too. From the Baha'i faith, they say, be vigilant that ye may not do injustice to anyone, be it to the extent of a grain of mustard seed. And from the Chandogya Upanishads of the Hindu faith, this one is really good. I liked it. It said, he who consists of mind, whose body is life breath, whose form is light, whose conception is truth, and whose soul is space, containing all works, containing all desires, containing all odors, containing all tastes, encompassing this whole world. This soul of mine within the heart is smaller than a grain of mustard seed. This soul of mine is greater than the earth, greater than the atmosphere, greater than the sky, and greater than these worlds. Also, I found it in the Tao. They said, if there is not sufficient depth, water will not float large ships. But if you upset a cupful of water into a hole in the yard, a mustard seed will be your boat. You see, when faith opens up your mind, yeah, there are mountains, but you can move them. Problems that we thought were impossible suddenly become possible. The mustard seed parable is telling us that great things can be accomplished with just a little bit of spiritual insight. That insight comes simply through a willingness to learn and to let our mind open up through faith. I'll never look at another mustard seed the same way again. Thank you.
Mm. Thank you, Patty. I loved all to hear about basically the history of how other peoples have used the stories of the mustard seed. Thank you so much. All right, now we're going to get ready for Joe Bull, who will be our singer today.
Thank you, Brenda. Welcome to your debut of doing this hosting. You're doing a great job. This song is dedicated to God, which means I'm dedicating this beautiful song to all of you, because God runs through us. We know that. Have I told you lately that I love you? Have I told you there's no one else above you? You fill my heart with gladness, take away all my sadness, ease my troubles, that's what you do. For the morning sun and all its glory greets the day with hope and comfort too. You fill my life with gladness, take away all my sadness, ease my troubles, that's what you do. There's a love that's divine, and it's yours and it's mine, just like the sun. And at the end of the day, we give thanks and praise to the one, to the one. Have I told you lately that I love you? Have I told you there's no one else above you? You fill my life with laughter, somehow you make it better. Ease my troubles, that's what you do. You fill my life with gladness, take away all my sadness. Ease my troubles, that's what you do. You take away all my sadness, fill my heart with gladness. Ease my troubles, that's what you do.
Thank you, Joe.
Thank you.
I'll be singing that in my head all day today. So thank you. Lovely. All right. So our wonderful speaker of today is our very own Reverend Lujuana.
Thank you, Brenda. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Oh, you really know Spirit's working when we all come together in this beautiful community and everything seems to just flow. Spirit's always working. It's wonderful being receptive to it. I have some quotes as well with regard to faith to start us off with. And the ones that I'd like to share are: the one who has faith and is sincere and has mastery over the senses gains this knowledge. Having gained this one at once attains supreme peace. Bhagavad Gita. Khalil Gibran, faith is an oasis in the heart which will never be reached by the caravan of thinking. And I feel like I'm going to butcher this poor person's name. There's no poor person there, but Rabindranath? Rabindranath. Oh, well. What was it? Help me out there. Rabindranath Tagore. Faith is the bird that feels the light when the dawn is still dark. And then Ralph Waldo Emerson. In the woods, we return to the reason and faith. The creation of 1,000 forests is in one acorn. So I'm so happy to be alive. Last week I felt kind of heavy and energetically weighty. And I feel lighter this week. And in that I'm just so grateful. I'm grateful for it all. I'm grateful for the heavy and what it reveals, and I'm grateful for the light because it's a lot more fun. it just kind of is. Wouldn't we say that our world is changing pretty rapidly lately? Lots of things going on, major transformation. And as much as there's technology and there's science, it feels like the spiritual human nature of us is as it was in the ancient times. It's, spirit is whole, perfect, and complete, and we're revealing it in this relationship, this nature, this connection relationship like Jesus did. So our spiritual human nature feels timeless to me. We know new ideas are introduced to us all the time. And new thought being introduced in the early 1900s really brought forth something that was here before in other teachings, but it really brought it forth. You could say it mainstreamed it. And that was the premise that when New Thought in the early 1900s started to really blossom, it was during a time when it was a huge belief in two opposing powers. And they brought forth one power, one presence, omnipotent. Before the movie, What the Bleep, and scientific experiments that have let us know that what's on the mind of the scientist kind of affects the experiment. Even before that, our teachers were helping people to realize their creative abilities with spirit for healing, for health, for wholeness through spiritual means. Ernest Holm wrote in the Science of Mind textbook, faith has been recognized as the power throughout the ages, whether it be faith in God, faith in each other, in ourselves, or in what one is doing. Faith is a faculty of the mind. Now, for me, there's two spiritual realities that I experience a lot. The one is we are not denied anything. God's nature is yes. And it is, and everything that God is, and we know that we don't know what everything that God is, but everything that God is here. It's an interesting premise that's been conveyed by a hologram metaphor that wherever the hologram is, every bit of it has the whole in it. So every bit of this life has the whole of God in it. God is not denying us one thing. So with that said, the second part of it is done unto us as we believe. For me, that's kind of like the creative 1-2. And so how am I going to participate in this life with that? And so I have a story of something that happened just recently. And it was that in my readings of the Science of Mind textbook that Ernest Holmes wrote about faith, in preparation for this talk, I was lifted into the possible, let's say. I could just really feel the possibility of, you could say, greater health, greater well-being. And I was noticing, and I've also noticed that this follows my thoughts, this feeling that I can pick up, that if I get hooked a little by the news, or if I get hooked a little bit by a significant emotional expression that's really forceful, really powerful, and maybe a little heavy, I will just pick it up, feel it. I've even had it where it felt like it just moved completely through me, this energy, this emotional current. So I recognize I'm kind of, what is it? And we all are in some way. We all are sympathetic. We have a sympathetic cord with people, right? We feel what others are going through, especially in this community where we're sensitive and attentive. So I was feeling the heaviness, and I was feeling the weightiness. You could say letting the world back up into me a little bit. And in the midst of that, and carrying this idea from Ernest Holmes of possibility, I said, I'll do my mudras. Here's my mudras. It's real simple. I'll just do my mudras and go into meditation. And that is exhale, burdens, inhale, abundance. Exhale, burdens, inhale, abundance. Exhale, burdens, inhale, abundance. And as I was doing that, a little slower, mind you, as I was doing that, I was recognizing our exhales are a gift to the trees and plants, exactly what they need. And their exhales are a gift to us. I don't have to carry burdens. I don't have to start with burdens. I can let burdens go. And it can be exhale, gift, inhale, gift. Exhale, gift, inhale, gift. And something in my body shifted. I literally felt a heaviness dissipate. That's what it's like coming to this community and hearing your talks. Bob, I'm looking at you. Patty, all of us in our sharings, John, your words in the healing prayer, Angie, Missy, everyone in your sharings, in classes, that's how I feel. We share those things that we've learned that lift us like Ernest Holmes did in the book, and you catch this idea and you get this feeling, I don't have to carry around the burden. I can let it go. It can dissipate. In reality, there are no incurable conditions. There are only incomplete approaches which never reach the real seat of the trouble. And in Frederick Bale's book, The Healing Power of Balanced Emotions, he said it was unbalanced emotions. Now, the reason I picked that book up is because my entire life has been kind of focusing in on themes related to balance and centering. It just seems like what I'm drawn to. And I recognize that we each, Reverend Kim, everyone here is drawn to that something that inside them they know this works for me. I hear this, I feel this. This helps me to let spirit through. Okay, I made up a parable allegory. Just know it's the mustard seed. We've all remembered that there was this thing we were taught when we were younger, that if you saw a glass and the glass was filled to the halfway point, and if you saw that glass as half full, you were A, and if you saw it half empty, and putting the labels aside of optimist and pessimist, but keeping the spirit of a parable or an allegory. If the glass is half full and we are grateful, an energy of gratitude is exuding out of us. And it is from this thought feeling moment that we are creating. And as our teaching speaks, if this is the thought feeling we carry with any consistency, more to be grateful for will appear and manifest in our lives. Because it's the seed we planted, the thoughts and emotions that we plant. If, however, we are given this half full or halfway filled glass, it has nectar in it, and it isn't very much to our liking, or we like it, but we're just unhappy because we didn't get more of it. We wanted more. Then those thoughts and feelings are likely to be on the themes of disliking and disappointment. Now, what worked for us above works for us here in and more ways for us to dislike and be disappointed are able to manifest like to like. And it is according to what we plant. Now, this isn't to make us feel any bad, more bad feelings. This is not for judging that I bring this up. This is, however, an example of how we can notice, how we can witness, how we can recognize our creative nature is always working. It's just always working. Once we recognize with our penetrative gaze, as Emma Curtis Hopkins says, with our penetrative gaze, how this works in our lives, no matter who we are, where we live, where we were born, or how many wayward paths we've taken in the past, we have been pointed to trusting in spirit, trusting in this creative process. And that's what matters. For me, when those things happen, when you share a truth that comes from your soul or a song and you just all in it, oxygen floods into the room. If an aha moment happens, for me, it feels like oxygen flowing into the room. And I know we all have our ways that we experience our ahas and that they touch us. But most important, we're not victimized by the world. We aren't even making things happen. We are tuning inward to see how creative and generous life is. It just is so creative, so generous. And because we're made in the image and the likeness, and we're made of the substance and the essence, we're getting to see how creative and generous we are. Faith is the healing channel along which omnipotence moves. Also, Frederick Bales. A society grows great when older men plant trees whose shade they know they will never sit in. That's a great proverb. And like Patty's sharing, a lot of people have said it in a lot of ways. This is my wish for you. Comfort on difficult days. Smiles when sadness intrudes. Rainbows to follow the clouds. Laughter to kiss your lips. Sunsets to warm your heart. Hugs when spirits sag. Beauty for your eyes to see. Friendships to brighten your being. Faith so that you can believe. Confidence for when you doubt. Courage to know yourself. Patience to accept the truth. And love to complete your life. Ralph Waldo Emerson. Namaste.
Wow. Reverend Lujuana, your words have always been inspiring to me. It was very lovely today, and I will always remember the breathing in a gift and breathing out a gift. That resonated. Thank you so much. Really, truly, my cheeks are hurting from like smiling wearing my mask. It's lovely. Yeah, I liked it. All right. So next up is the offertory. If Judy and Kim would come up for the ushers. All right, now I would like to do the offertory statement. So please say with me. Divine love flowing through me blesses and increases all that I give and all that I receive. Thank you for financially supporting the Positive Living Center, also known as PLC. We are a nonprofit that is funded by donations only. Your generosity of spirit continually brings the power of love and the ability to transform lives and build community. So you may also send donations to POC to PO Box 2683, Oakhurst, California 93644, or by PayPal. There's a green donate button that's shown on the weekly bulletin. All right, so announcements are coming up, and I'm doing something a little different for Zoom. So I ask that if you have an announcement, if you're on Zoom, if you could leave that in the little chat box. And so after the sanctuary makes their announcements, I can read those to those that are also here. And then also for those in the sanctuary, if you do have an announcement, to please come up to the microphone so they can hear you. So we'll start with the sanctuary. Are there any announcements? Kim, please come on up.
Hi, everyone. Good morning. Morning. I know that those of you on Zoom will not be able to see this unless I take this around and let you see it on the walls. But we have some new artwork from Loretta Lister, or Leister, I think it's Lister. And it's Leister. Okay, sorry, Loretta. And I think this is difficult to see, so I'm going to move it so that it's more visible to everyone because I was sitting in the back and can't see it. But there's some pictures that she has painted, and she has an eagle, a coyote at the back, and a deer, and I think they're wonderful, and they're watercolors. And then she has some Native American pictures of characters of the dancers, a male and a female in regalia, and a singer. And at the very back, which is on the wall there, was the only space that I could find, is also shaman. And I really thank everyone. We also have Sandy Scott's artwork, which is on one wall over here that I wish everyone could see. And also on this wall here, we have Laura's shorts as artwork. So I'm really grateful to all of the artists that put their artwork in here for us to enjoy. And it fills the walls up and it warms it up and it feels good. So I'm really grateful. And it's so nice to see everybody.
Thank you, Kim. I have an announcement too I would like to acknowledge John Stanley for all the work that you've been doing by watering and taking care of the grounds around here. It's absolutely lovely. Thank you. All right. Were there any other announcements in the sanctuary? Okay, I'm going to see if we have any in the tip box. Okay, I do not see any. Do you,
Yes,
Missy?
there is.
Oh, okay. All right.
Stacy asked if someone could take pictures of your walls with all the new pictures and put them into the weekly news email. For
There we go. I see it. Thank you, Stacy. Thank you, Missy. So if you didn't hear that, here it is. Stacy's asking if someone could take pictures and put them into the weekly news email. So curiosity, could any of you hear Missy saying that? Oh, you could. Wow. Okay, that's very exciting. Okay, all right. Okay. Thank you, Stacy, for saying that. Thank you for all the announcements in the sanctuary. I'd like to also let you know that if anyone is in need of a prayer treatment, our Positive Living Center practitioners are here to support you. The practitioner prayer partner this week is Rev Lujuana. And there's also a frog box in the very corner to the left of the door as you walk out or as you hang out at the doorway, that you can write a prayer request to the PLC team prayer, to the prayer team, so you can leave that in there if you'd like as well. And then I think it's also important to mention the heart-to-heart. PLC has a heart-to-heart outreach. We all go through life transitions. Your PLC heart-to-heart team members are ready to partner with you on your journey. And this is whether you need to talk or request prayer work or seek support for any other needs you might have. Together, we create a new way of being in community. And Reverend Judy DeRosa is the heart-to-heart liaison, and you can find her contact information on the PLC newsletter. And next week, actually, our speaker is Reverend Judy DeRosa. And next up is time for the prayer protection, and that's found also on the card that's in front of most of you. And if you would please say with me, the light of God surrounds me, the love of God enfolds me, the presence of God, sorry, this one, the presence of God over me. The energy of God is me. Wherever I am, God is, and all is well. Love that. All right, so I'm going to ask Reverend Judy DeRosa to come up and do the closing prayer for us.
As we sit quietly, we go within, and we know that we're all planting seeds, mustard seeds, and plants. The vastness of each person and your own unique energy is being planted wherever you go, whoever you meet. We plant change, positive energy, loving thoughts, the idea of being of service to those that we love, our families, and to those we have not yet met. We plant the idea and the focus of love, of caring, of healing old wound and letting go of old pain. When we go out into the world today, we take all the wisdom and we share it with others in acts of kindness, in acts of no ideal of any repayment, smiles. May your day be bright and filled with beauty. May this Sunday and every Sunday you come here be filled with loving kindness and acceptance.
Very nice. Thank you, Reverend Judy. And we thank you all for joining us today at the Positive Living Center. Go out and share the kindness and love that flows in your heart. I look forward to seeing you all next Sunday.
Thank you all for coming here on Zoom. It was nice to see all your faces. Have a wonderful and abundant week, everybody.
Three things.
It's a wrap.